Thank you for joining us. This is the annual special recognition ceremony honoring those who have given or received the gift of life through organ, tissue, and eye donation. Although current circumstances have prevented many of our donor families, the living donors and recipients, from gathering together in person, we do have a few, and we're grateful that you guys are here with us. Thank you for the opportunity to celebrate together with you, saving the lives through donation. We hold this ceremony each April in honor of National Donate Life Month. This is a time of local, regional, and national activities to help encourage Americans to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors and to celebrate those who've saved the lives that have been saved through the gift of donation. Through the Donate Life Registry, there were more than 13,000 donors in 2021, resulting in over 40,000 transplants for the first time ever. One donor can save up to 8 lives through organ donation, give sight to 2 people through cornea donation, and save and heal up to 75 lives through tissue donation. And still there's a critical shortage of organs, tissues, and eyes available for donation, and there are over 100,000 people waiting nationally for transplant. One name is added to the transplant list every 9 minutes, and 17 people die every day because an organ was not available for them. Later in our ceremony, we will honor all the families who have made the compassionate decision to donate their loved ones' organs, tissues, or eyes, living donors who have selflessly donated an organ, and those who have received organs in 2021 by unveiling their names and stories on our digital wall of life. But before we begin, I'd like to invite Chaplain Hazel Thomas to lead us in prayer. Hazel?
Saint Teresa of Calcutta said, "The greatest good is what we do for another." While I doubt she was referring to organ, eye, and tissue donation, the sentiment certainly fits for this occasion. We are here today to honor those who chose to do the greatest good for another through donation. As a living kidney donor, I know firsthand the impact bonus years can mean for someone who has been waiting weeks, months, or years. Enjoying additional years of TCU games, seeing friendships restored, and watching new love grow are just some of the blessings that delighted me from my dear friend and keeper of my left kidney. As he and I have often said, living donation works. Please join me as I offer this prayer of thanksgiving. We come today full of gratitude for the hope fulfilled through donation after enduring the uncertainty of waiting. You created us, O God, in wonderful and mysterious ways. These bodies that will wither and age are the same bodies that are the source of our life, and through the innovations of donation can be the source of life for another. We are relational beings, and in our relationships, we see the need another may have. As Saint Teresa said, it is the greatest good when we follow your lead and do or give or share with another, especially one who is in need. For the many who have already chosen organ, eye, or tissue donation, whether as a living donor or once life has ended, we are grateful beyond measure. For the families of those who donated after death, we pray they continue to feel your comfort and peace in their grief journey. For the recipients, we pray for continued health and well-being, and once again, say thank you for the gift of added life. Each additional day, week, month, and year is a gift that cannot be repaid. In this time of celebration and remembrance, may we be encouraged by Saint Teresa's words and look for ways to do good in another's life. Amen.
Organ and tissue donation are vital to improving the health of individuals in this community, but making the decision to donate a loved one's organs is not an easy one. Individuals and families who make this decision are choosing to give one of the most selfless gifts. Giving someone else the gift of life is the ultimate sacrifice. Through the heartache of losing a loved one, families who donate show incredible generosity. We are here to celebrate and honor those families and those individuals today. I would like to start off by thanking the units here at Texas Health Fort Worth that achieved the top metrics for organ donation this year. I would like the representatives from the Neuroscience ICU to stand and to be honored for the best timely referral rate of 84%. She said she's already standing. Next, we would like the representatives from the Cardiovascular ICU to stand and be recognized for achieving the highest donation rate of 53%. Thank you to all the units that work hard every day to make organ donation possible at our hospital. Now I'd like to acknowledge LifeGift's extraordinary efforts and record-breaking achievements over the past year in increasing organ donation awareness and providing families the opportunity to share the gift of life during a time of intense sorrow and grief. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you our friend Kevin Meyer, the CEO of LifeGift. Kevin, would you like to come up and say a few words?
So it's so great to see everyone today and be here together to celebrate and honor National Donate Life Month, as Joseph talked about. I'm so honored to have the chance to represent the LifeGift Board of Directors and all of our dedicated staff, many of whom are here, who work with you all here to help offer hope to so many counting on us. And more specifically, to honor and remember all the donors, our donor families and living donors, who over the past year and many years before, as you can see on this beautiful wall and here, gave so that so many others may live. Whether organ, eye, or tissue donation, the life-changing gifts represent the very best in us, the very best in this great community of Fort Worth, and give all of us hope for the future. LifeGift is an organ procurement organization that serves Fort Worth, the Fort Worth community, the greater Houston area, and West Texas, Lubbock, and Amarillo. We are honored to be able to work with you all and to be a small part of this life-saving and life-giving mission that this hospital provides every day. It cannot be said enough how much we at LifeGift appreciate and are grateful for the leadership and staff of this hospital who over the COVID pandemic period, the past couple years, the 2 years in the desert is what I call it, even with all the anguish involved in that work daily at the bedside, that you all still supported our mission of offering hope through donation and transplantation. As Joseph mentioned, 2020 and 2021 were two of our busiest years ever, and a lot of that was because of your efforts. This impacted the 10,000 Texans waiting for transplant. We made some good progress in getting more patients transplanted, and the over 110,000 people who are waiting across the U.S. In addition to some of those statistics, we're transplanting somewhere around 22 to 23 patients per day in the United States. Some of that happens here, which is just so remarkable. I also want to let you know that Texans, as you guys know, take care of each other when things are bad. Texans donate life. Our Donate Life Texas registry now is at almost 14 million people, which is just incredible. It's one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing registry in the United States. All those individuals who are in the registry have already made the decision to give to help others. Also, our Donate Life Texas organization, it's another nonprofit that is made up of the 3 organ procurement organizations in Texas, just last week released a whole new beautiful Texas-centric donation, education, and motivation campaign. It is beautiful. You can see it at donatelifetexas.org. It's really quite remarkable. So thank you for the creativity and the commitment in honoring our donors and donor families through this donor wall and the virtual memorial. Deceased donors, living donors, our beautiful donor families, all the people who are impacted by transplantation, individuals, communities, and whole families. It's so beautiful. This is so beautiful, and I'm sure that the many families touched by this effort to honor their loved ones are honored by these individual steps that you all took. So thank you so much. Thank you for the chance to say a few words, and we are so grateful for all that you all are doing. Thank you, Joseph.
So next, I'd like to thank the UT Southwestern Transplant Services for supporting our local community, our nation, and missions throughout the world by providing eye and corneal transplants that restore function and improve the quality of life for recipients. I'd like to now invite Donna, Drury, Executive Director of Transplant Services at UT Southwestern, to the podium. Donna?
It is my privilege to be here today as we honor and remember those who chose to give to others at a time of loss, even as we celebrate the lives who have been saved and improved through transplantation. We celebrate Donate Life Month every April, and this year's theme is inspired by the vital roles that bees play in sustaining life. Bees work together with dedication, collaboration, and a strong sense of community. Our iBank is fortunate to have Texas Health, Harris Methodist Fort Worth, and LifeGift as part of our community. The donation process starts with public awareness and education, and our iBank is fortunate to have the help of our Lions Clubs, who have a long history of working to improve sight and prevent blindness. We also collaborate with our two exceptional partners, this hospital and LifeGift, to facilitate eye donation. Last but certainly not least are our donor families who make transplantation possible with their choice to give the most precious gifts of all. Due to the collaborative efforts of these organizations, our iBank was able to facilitate ocular donation for 47 families from Harris Methodist last year. As a result of these donations, 92 individuals received the gift of restored or preserved sight. These recipients ranged in age from 21 to 91 years old, live in 29 Texas communities, 3 other states, and 8 other countries. Additionally, 27 corneas were provided for valuable teaching and research programs. Although I think it's important to share with you how many people have been helped, I also want to give you a more personal glimpse of the impact of sight restoration. So I'm going to read excerpts from a letter from a cornea recipient, and they wrote this letter to their donor family. Hi, my name is Mel. I am a 72-year-old man, and I am the recipient of your loved one's cornea. I wish to express my heartfelt sorrow for the loss of your loved one. It is hard to understand the reason for your loss, but knowing that the gift that you have so graciously given will be a blessing to me. Without wonderful people like you, I would not have the opportunity to see correctly again. I cannot change what has happened to your loved one, but I can reassure you that your loved one lives on through me. And for this, I am eternally grateful. Every morning when I waken, I thank God for my vision, and I always think of the person whom I received it from. I have written a short poem that I carry with me always, and I hope you may feel the love that I have for your loved one. A life was taken, I'll not know why, but I truly pray that you shall see God's precious blessing through the sight you gave to me. My hope is that hearing the number of lives that have been impacted through sight restoration, as well as Mel's letter, helps each and every one of you realize that you make a difference. Whether you're a donor family, a Lions Club member, or part of the Harris Methodist or LifeGift teams, your actions help us provide the gift of sight here in Fort Worth, across this great state of Texas, and even worldwide. And for that, we are grateful. Thank you.
So next, I'd like to invite Brittany Allison to share her story about her experience when her brother, Brian Ray Wilganowski, became an organ donor on December 11th, 2021. Brittany?
I want to start this off by saying that it's a true honor to be able to speak about my brother, his life, and his organ donation story today. I was going to do my best getting through this without crying, but clearly that's not working. When I think about my brother, the first thing that comes to mind was his drive. He graduated high school at the age of 17 after completing the IB program, and at the age of 21, he already had both a bachelor's and master's degree. During those years, he even became fluent in Arabic and studied abroad in the Middle East. The energy and determination he had when he set his mind on something was admirable. It's something that I hope to carry with me in all of my future endeavors. My brother took all roles in his life to heart, and he strove to honor, support, and most importantly, protect our family. He was at his happiest when surrounded by our family. His love for us was the foundation that defined and shaped his life. Growing up, my brother was my biggest competition. We competed with each other on all things academics. Luckily, my mom liked to hoard all of our school stuff growing up, so I was always able to pull out his stuff and compare when I wanted to. I worked so hard to keep up with him academically, and I can't thank him enough for that. He pushed me to be the very best at everything I did, and in the end, he truly made me a better person. Now, my brother was 7 years older than me, so by the time I went through school, he had already had all the teachers that I would end up having. When I spoke at his funeral, I had mentioned to our friends and family how at the time I absolutely hated how every teacher referred to me as Brian Wilganowski's little sister. But it honestly was the greatest title anyone could give me. Being his sister was the best part of my life, and I only wish that I had more time with him. My brother was by far the most amazing person on this earth. He was intelligent, strong, selfless, and honestly, any positive adjective could be used to describe him. Even through his own struggles, he made sure that everyone around him was doing okay. He would have given the shirt off his back to a complete stranger in need. So the fact that he had chosen to be an organ donor was not a shock at all. It only speaks to his character. My brother and I both went to Texas A&M University and are diehard Aggies. I think it's only fitting to talk about one of the core values of A&M students, which is selfless service. As former President George Bush said, A&M encourages volunteerism, encourages being one of 1,000 points of light, helping others, and it comes naturally to others. And that holds true given my brother's final act of organ donation. This was an act of selfless service, and I hope my brother knows that he's made every fight in Texas Aggie proud. On December 5th, 2021, my family and I's lives were turned upside down. My son's second birthday party was coming to an end when my brother had his seizure. That was the evening that changed everything. Upon arrival to the hospital, it was discovered that he had a chronic brain bleed. Despite the doctors' and surgeons' best efforts, they were not able to stop the damage that the bleed had already caused. It was that night that my brother went into his coma. The following week was the most challenging weeks we'd have ever been faced with. On December 6th, our family was sat down and reminded of my brother's choice to be an organ donor. Although we had all known prior to this, when in that moment, we all forgotten that this was a choice my brother has previously made. Again, not shocked by his choice at all, but shocked at the fact that we had important decisions to make in the coming days. After many difficult conversations, on December 8th, we made the decision to begin the organ donation process. We knew that this would only give us a couple of more days with my brother, which made that decision one of the hardest we ever had to make. The last couple of days were spent doing tests to determine which organs were viable for donation and finding recipients for all of those organs. On December 11th, my parents, my brother's best friend, and I walked into the OR to say our final goodbyes to my brother as he took his last breath. After our goodbyes and exit from the OR, the surgeons began their work to transfer my brother's organs where they needed to go. My brother was able to donate his right kidney, left kidney, and his liver. He also donated his skin, bone, and soft tissue. Although the exact number of lives saved from the tissue donation is not available yet, we do know that his organ donation saved 2 people's lives. Through the lives he saved, he has left the world a better place than when he found it, and for that, I'm incredibly proud. Our lives may have been shattered to the core in losing my brother, but many others were able to breathe a sigh of relief over a new and sustained life. I know that he lives on in those whose lives he saved. Even in the darkest times, I am grateful that something so beautiful, such as organ donation, could come from a trauma like this. It only reminds me how amazing my brother was that he chose to do such a thing. I've signed up to become an organ donor myself and encourage everyone to do the same if you even have the slightest urge to do so. The gift of life is something so special and should not be taken for granted. My brother lived a great life full of love, laughter, and joy. A life that when death knocked on his door, he was given a chance to impact the lives of others. He gave a chance to multiple people to live a fulfilling life like his own. I miss my brother every second of every day, but I'll always remember the amazing human being that he was through the very end of his life, and will cherish the kind acts that he's been a part of. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Make this Aggie proud for sure. Thanks for sharing. What a great life that your brother lived, Brittany. So next I'd like to invite Jason Wu. Jason is a transplant recipient at the transplant program here at Texas Health Fort Worth, and we'd love to hear your story, Jason, about you receiving a kidney transplant almost 1 year ago. Jason.
When I first came up to this hospital today, I bet you all are wondering what I was thinking. What I was actually thinking was, it's very nice to be at the hospital and not be sick and not need some treatment done to me, here for a good reason. But in all seriousness, I think it's about time I shared my story in hopes that it can inspire other people to be donors and to see how much of an impact it can make just through me. But as with all stories, I think it's best to start at the beginning. So my battle with lupus began when I was in high school in 2012. One summer, I spent a lot of time outdoors, as most high school kids do. And that's when the first signs of my disease started to show up. I started getting the characteristic rash on my face. But I went to the dermatologist and he said, usually discoid lupus, which is lupus in the skin, doesn't progress to full-blown systemic lupus. Judging by the fact that I'm standing in front of you, obviously you know that's not what happened in my case. So soon enough, a couple months after, I started getting signs that my kidneys were involved. And at first we went full bore. We went with everything we could. And we started chemotherapeutic drug treatment. That's usually the first line when someone first gets kidney involvement. And it worked for a while until it didn't. About 1 year later, it became really aggressive. And pretty soon, by April of 2014, I was in the hospital fighting for my life. I had never been that sick up to that point. And but then it seemed to get better for a few months. I went down to Houston to start college. And everything seemed okay for a while. It wasn't as good as it was before, but it seemed okay. It seemed like everything would be fine. And then it got worse again. And we tried everything. We tried every treatment there was, even some treatments that were off the books. But nothing seemed to work. And in December of that year of 2014, I started dialysis and my kidneys failed completely. From there, it was an up and down struggle. It was tough bouncing back and forth between hospital visit to hospital visit. At a few points, I didn't even know whether I'd live to see the next morning. All of this changed one fateful Wednesday night on April 28th, 2021. I was working on a school project with a classmate when I got a phone call from a person named Robin. She told me there was a kidney available from a young lady who tragically had an accident, but that there were people in front of me. I packed my bag as we were supposed to do when we get that call, but then I waited. After 6 hours had gone by, I figured that this was it. It wasn't going to happen, and I was okay with that because it meant that someone else was going to get the gift of life, and my turn was surely around the corner. But that's not what ended up happening. I went to bed about 11:30, and then suddenly I get a phone call at 12:43 a.m. I remember the time so vividly because I couldn't believe what she said next. It was Robin again, telling me that there was a kidney available and I needed to rush to the hospital by 2 a.m. So my mother, who lives 30 minutes away, drove as fast as she could down here to where I lived, and we drove 45 minutes across town to Texas Health. We drove through torrential rain. Sometimes we couldn't even see 5 feet in front of us. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was people driving past us at 70 miles per hour down a wet interstate. Yeah. When we got to the hospital, things started to move really fast. 7 hours later, I was in the OR, undergoing the biggest surgery I've ever had, and hopefully will ever have. And then the recovery process began. It was tougher than anything I'd ever done before. There were so many times when I wanted to give up, but there were many people helping me along the way, and I felt inspired to continue. And now we're here. I still can't believe Friday will be 1 year. It doesn't feel like a whole year has passed. I guess it's just because I've been able to do so much more now that I've gotten a transplant as opposed to before. That alone should tell you all you need to know about how much of an impact being an organ donor can have. I've learned so much about myself and life itself throughout my whole journey. I've come to realize that I'm resilient and brave, and that my story gives me power to affect change and to inspire people. I'm happier now than I've ever been, and it's all thanks to one generous person who chose to give the gift of life when she so tragically lost hers, my donor Ambriana. Her parents described her as someone who was a fighter, an advocate for those she cared about, and someone who gave the best gifts. I have a feeling I would have liked her, even though my gift-giving skills are kind of questionable at best. I hope she would have forgiven me for that. I made the choice when I was 16 to register to be an organ donor because it just felt right to me at the time. When I was getting my license and going the classes that I needed to take in order to get it, they mentioned that that was an option. And they only paid 3 lines to it, but it was enough to convince me that's what I needed to do. Now that I'm a recipient myself, I realize just how impactful that one decision can be. My life can save a handful of others. I don't know about you, but that's a great legacy to have if you ask me. I hope that there comes a day when people like me don't have to wait 6 years for a transplant. Until then, I will continue to fight and advocate for organ donation, just like how Ambriana would. To all the brave people out there waiting for an organ, I salute you and tell you to just hang in there. It's hard, trust me, I know. But when you finally get your day and you start your new life, you'll be happier than you ever were before. I didn't believe that when people told me. So I know you're skeptical, but just believe. Like I told one of my good friends last week, believe in yourself and you've already won half the battle. As for everyone else, I implore you to treasure every single day that you are on this earth. Because once a day is gone, it never comes back. Live it as if it's your last. I have way too many wonderful nurses, doctors, and other staff that I've seen over the years to thank right now. And in the interest of not keeping all of us here until tomorrow morning, I will just say a very kind thank you. And I also want to give a very special thank you to my mother, who has been there every step of the journey, has never missed a hospital stay of mine. Which is a tall order considering how many I've had, honestly. And to quote what a famous author once said, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today's a gift. And that's why it's called the present. And I plan to cherish this present for a very long time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason. You are an inspiration, and I know you'll continue to be the rest of your life. This year, we are honored to have been able to allow Jason to meet his donor family just prior to this ceremony, and now it's my honor to ask the donor's parents, David and Amber Ricks, to come and say a few words about their experience and share their story of their daughter, Ambriana Ricks.
I'll start, and then David can come up when I'm done. I'm Amber Ricks. I am Ambriana's mom and Stone's mom. What I'd like to do today is to tell you a quick story about Ambriana. When she was about 18 and it was her first year living on her own, she told us that she wouldn't be able to make it to our family Christmas at her grandparents'. Money was tight for her, and she had agreed to wait tables on the Christmas Eve shift because tips would be good and she needed the money. It was our first Christmas without her, and I fell asleep on Christmas worrying about her like moms do. and were awakened at 6 a.m. by her throwing open the door and yelling, "Merry Christmas!" You see, she had worked her shift, and then she had driven through the night, and she had stopped at Buc-ee's and used her tip money to buy gifts for everyone. And they were actually good gifts that we were happy to have. And she was so happy. That she was happy that she was able to give something to everyone. It made her Christmas. And seeing her happy made my Christmas. One of Ambriana's top love languages is gifts. She really loved to give a good one. I'm grateful today that my home is graced with gifts that Ambriana has given me over the years. She really was a good gift giver. Her favorite scripture was Proverbs 3:3. "Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart." Ambriana knew how to love well, and one of the ways she did that was by giving gifts. The fact that I'm standing here today talking to you is evidence of that. 1 year ago today, Ambriana was in a terrible auto accident that changed our whole world. In the days after the accident, when we learned that she was brain dead and was no longer with us, we were simply just lost in the shock and the pain of losing her. While I knew that she was an organ donor, that thought didn't even cross my mind until someone from the hospital approached us about it. Through the process of organ donation, Ambriana was able to give good gifts even after she was gone. Though I know that I will see her again someday, this has still been the most painful and difficult of years. Knowing that people's lives were improved by her heart and her kidneys has been a positive thing for me through it all. While it was Ambriana's decision to become an organ donor, this was certainly a gift to the recipients, but it was also a gift to me. I'm so grateful to have this positive and forward-moving experience from her choice, and I'm grateful to see Jason here. I'm grateful to see him looking well. He played some music for us earlier that was so beautiful. I'm just grateful. Sarah Bonbronick said, "When we choose not to focus on what is missing from our lives, but we are grateful for the abundance that is present, we experience heaven on earth." And I'm so grateful that Ambriana's choice has given me something so real and beautiful to be present with. It is a comforting thing to see her life woven into the lives of others. Thank you for giving me a chance to honor her today.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you for being a wonderful mom. So, you heard Jason describe a vivid memory of the rain and the lightning. And Amber and I remember that rainstorm vividly as well, the day after she was pronounced brain dead. It was Amber and I and her mom sitting in the living room, and we were watching through the windows just a magnificent lightning storm. And I paused for a minute and I said, Ambriana just knocked on the heaven's door, walked in, and heard beautiful music playing. And she said, "Not this. We need something different. Let's blow some shit up." And then all the lightning and thunder, just the ruckus that she would really appreciate. So I wanted to kind of just recap briefly what my daughter meant to me. And I didn't have anything prepared, but I thought about it on the drive over. So my daughter was a radiant blue flower. She was a ferocious tornado. She was a precious lamb. She was a curious wolf. She was a child of God. She was my daughter. Ambriana was love. And that's how I remember her in a brief summary. So we hear and we talk about organ donation being just a wonderful gift to the receiver. But for everybody that's undecided on being an organ donor, I will absolutely say that the giver's family, the donor's family, receives as much of a priceless gift as the recipient. Seeing Jason here and healthy and the long life you have in front of you is a gift, bro. And I look so forward to just seeing you fulfill all your dreams. And Mom, just the smile I see through your eyes, knowing you have a child now that can live a healthy life, is a gift. It is a gift. So when considering donorship, it's not just a gift to a stranger, it is a gift to your loved ones. It is a gift to your loved ones as much as anything. Thank you.
Thank you for having the strength and the courage to celebrate life, the gift of life, with us today, to all of you, and especially sharing the story of your daughter, Ambriana. This beautiful artwork here was our original Wall of Life. It was created by an artist by the name of Rebecca Lau. It serves as an ever-present reminder of that organ and tissue donation is not just a journey for the donors and recipients, but for the families as well, as David said. It reflects the beauty of giving life and restoration. Mrs. Lau's artwork has captured the very essence of the peace and contentment that goes into a family's decision to donate, as well as the freedom and renewal that you heard Jason describe as a recipient who gets this form of new life. In addition to the existing wall, we have the digital wall that allows us to provide an interactive experience, as well as photos and additional information about each organ donor and the recipient for many years to come. So thank you, everyone, for celebrating life, for raising awareness about the importance of organ, tissue, and eye donation. Texas Health Fort Worth will continue to be a partner in raising donor awareness, as well as provide the most comprehensive care available to every patient that enters into our hospital. This concludes our ceremony, and we invite you to interact with our digital wall, to stay tuned to see all the names, including the newly added donors and recipients from 2021. Thank you all, and have a great afternoon.